All for coming. Can I get everybody's attention, please? Thank you all for coming. So we're here to celebrate the Phase 2 wastewater treatment plant upgrades that we just completed this year. This was almost a $12 million project, and it completes some critical needs for the wastewater treatment plant the next 20 years. So I'll hand over the floor to Mayor Barrows. Say a few things.
All right, well, thanks again. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for all you do down here and your staff. Today represents an example not only what the city's commitment to the environment, it's a commitment to our residents, it's a commitment to health, safety, it's a large commitment to the community for future generations. This isn't just about today. One of the things that we haven't really talked about publicly much, but I want to make a comment about it today. Through this project, there is some lagoons over here. What do they call the fluent?
Excess flow lagoons.
Excess fluent. So there was an issue with an area where the water flows over and it would build up algae and stuff in there. That it's a constant maintenance item. And there are several companies that create things that cover those with that cost a lot of money. And thanks to Adam's farmer ingenuity and his team, they developed the idea of cutting some large fuel tile in half and covering those. That little trick saved the city probably well over $200,000. So they're to be commended for that. And the end result is the whole system is better for all of us. And once again, the end result of this project is what flows into Kite Creek is well within its means of what it needs to be safe for the environment. So on behalf of the city and on behalf of everyone, Adam, thank you very much. The treatment plant is one of those places we don't really think about a lot. It's not really a sexy place to go and have a tour, but it's a very needed necessity within our community. We don't think about it, but today represents a great upgrade for the next several decades. So thank you much.
Thank you. So follow up with some tours of the upgrades we did, but I will say a few things that we try to do some innovative things around here. We get perfect compliance every year, and we've recently started land applying our own sludge on farm fields to reuse it instead of going to a landfill. We're saving money and helping to save the environment, so to speak. We're recently started doing fish surveys, so we go in the creek and we shock fish once a month, 6 months out of the year, to assess the health of the stream. So we've been doing that in-house, and that's going to provide us with the data we need to show that our treatment plant's doing what it's supposed to do. So we have a good team here, and we all do really good for the environment, I would say. Thank you all for coming. We'll make this quick because we got to get back to work.
Is there plans for that now, or we're gonna talk about somewhere, maybe in the basement over there. Might as well use the space that you have, right?
All right. So this is the final, almost the final stage of treatment at our wastewater plant. This used to be, these are the old sand filters I was telling you about. We decommissioned the old sand filters and upgraded to these filters. So we increased our capacity to treat water by about 1 million gallons a day by going to these, and 1/3 of the footprint. So that frees up for future use these tanks. So we put up a new building and build new tanks. When we have tighter restrictions come, we can reuse these, which we will. So one thing I forgot to mention, these upgrades, Will and Hoffman Associates out of Dixon, they did the design work on this treatment plant, so I want to thank them. This is Matt Hansen, he's here representing Willett. And this is Curtis Williams, he's representing William Brothers. So they did the actual work, the construction of the project, so I want to thank them. I'm going to turn it over to Matt to talk a little bit about the filters themselves.
So, Adam said the effluent from the final clarifiers comes into this building, and before we put these in, we had 3 sand filters that he would use for tertiary treatment, and basically that's the last treatment process BOD and TSS removal before we go to disinfection and out to the creek. So obviously the sand filters were old, maintenance issues, so we're looking at an upgrade for the future, especially with the phosphorus changes in the effluent. So we took a number of tours. We looked at different technology and stuff for the tertiary filters. And once you get up here and you can kind of take a look, you can kind of see why the footprint gets reduced. These are disc filters, so the loading is based on square foot of surface area for filtration. And these discs have, you get that surface area on both sides of the disc, and we've got probably 10 or 12 discs in each one of the filters, so we're able to squeeze all of this down into basically one tank. So installation wasn't easy, so what we had to do is to get these things in here. That door wasn't there before, so we had to cut the door in, put an overhead door in, and then Kurt and his staff, they did a really good job. Not like we gave them a lot of room to get these in, but they were able to get this stuff in, and even the demolition, they had to get all of the under drains and the media, everything out of the facility and stuff, and then get these back in. There was, you like to think you get a lot of equipment in here where you can kind of do it, but there was still a lot of old-fashioned labor hours, and stuff to get the stuff removed and get everything moved in and placed where it needed to be. So when we go to take a look, outside at the clarifiers, Mayor asked earlier and stuff. One of the things we took bids on when we originally took bids on the project were covers for the effluent troughs on the final clarifier. We put troughs on there to kind of reduce algae growth. Well, we're trying to keep the cost of the project down, so we cut those out of the project initially. We got the filters in. You can kind of see, you want to see how much algae growth we were getting. It was coming in. So Adam and his staff, they came up with a really good idea to, kind of cover it on their own, and it was a big savings. And now since we've got those covered, kind of eliminated the algae issue, stuff, it's really helping the performance and stuff of the tertiary filters.
So one thing okay, so these are our what's called secondary clarifiers. The water from our biological system moves into these clarifiers where all the solids settle, and they're recycled back into the aeration tanks, and the clear effluent that flows over the clarifiers, it moves onto the filters building where we were just at to get filtered. These are approximately 800,000 gallons per tank, and the water spends roughly, I think, 3 to 5 hours in each tank before it's either moved on or brought back to the aeration tanks. If you come up close, you can actually see the under these black pieces of pipe. That was our solution to cover these weir structures that we call it, to block the algae that John was talking about earlier. So we did this whole project for approximately $20,000. I think some of our bids were around $200,000 to do this, to do what we did. So, and then we painted everything within these concrete tanks, both tanks. So that would new surfacing should last 20 years roughly. So, are there any questions? All right. Do we want everybody walking up on this tank? You can see this is our second half of the conversion we did to biological phosphorus removal. We installed baffle walls, mixers, sensors, and recycle pumps. This process will help us meet the requirements in 2030 for the phosphorus limits that are coming. So, again, we did the first half back in 2020, learned what we needed to learn, and then completed the second half last year on this. Is there any questions on this? This is where all the treatment takes place, right here. Do all the biological conversion of all the pollutants in these tanks here. It spends about 30 hours in this process right here.
Is this where like all the animals are, the water bears and the...
Yeah, there's microorganisms in this water doing the work, and we actually look at them with the microscope to tell the health of what we're doing, make sure what we're doing is right. Because the strength, the loadings change hour to hour, and they do change seasonally. So, yeah, they do change seasonally, and then the microbes, they actually work more efficiently in the summer when it's warmer. So we change what we're doing based on seasonal fluctuations, temperatures, and loading. Yeah, they're watching it every day and adjusting what we do every single day. Any other questions?
Ready?
It's good right here.
Here we go. All right, we're gonna get a couple pictures before we cut, so 1 second. Okay, ready? Cut on 3. 1, 2, 3.